Hey everyone, and welcome back to day number 2 of the Year of the Man Summit. This is an annual summit I have created to help men for free with their mental health. 7 different creators, 7 different days to become better fathers, spouses, leaders, and men. So today is day number 2, and we have here John Lebrun. He is a speaker, dad coach. He is very motivated to help men improve their life and especially to become better dads. And tonight he's going to teach you how to be a better dad, father, mentor to your children. And if you don't have children, still stick around because it will still be applicable to life lessons in general. So John, thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to have you.
Wow, thanks so much. Can everybody see me okay? Very good. First of all, my name is John Lebrun, and I am 39. I'll be 40 this year, which is crazy. I have a beautiful wife, 2 kids, Andrew and Lily. You can see them right over my shoulder over there, if you can see that. And I love being a dad. I started my coaching journey several years ago. I've been in personal development since I was 21 years old. And I just think that more males should become men, and I'm on a journey to help with that and develop more male mentors in this world, because I think most of us could agree that more male mentors would be better than less male mentors. So congrats for all of you for being here, because just showing up already sets you apart from so many people. Elise, were you about to say something? Oh, sorry, you just showed up my screen. All right, let's keep going. So here's what I want you to do real quick. You need a pen and paper today, okay? I love to teach through self-discovery. So you need something to write notes on, and we will be active in the chat just a little bit. So I want you to take 30 seconds, and I want you to write 5 things that you feel best describe a 10 out of 10 dad. What are the 5 traits that describe a 10 out of 10 dad? There's no wrong answers. And then I want you to drop one or two of your favorites in the chat. Being present, good listener, patient, empathetic, nice. Supportive, okay. A teacher, responsible, aware of your child's needs, loving. A leader, encouraging. Vulnerable, love it, wise. Protector, model, loving, present, truth teller, compassionate, strong and honest. All right. I want to start with a story, and you can keep writing those down if you'd like. When I was a great teacher, understanding and loving, I love it. So when I was in the 1st grade, picture this, I lived in Southern California. And so in Southern California, our school, all of our classroom doors faced outside. So like here in the Midwest, that doesn't happen. It just would not work out. The snow, the elements, but in Southern California, it's nice 90% of the time, maybe more. A little jealous right now. But when I would go to school, each classroom door faced the outside, if that makes sense. If you're from anywhere besides Southern California or the southern states, picture the portable buildings that you had in at your school, the extra classrooms for overflow, be something like that. And so one day my dad took me to school because he used to work sort of 2nd, 3rd shifts in the military. And he drops me off as usual. And I remember walking through the gates of the school, coming around the corner and sort of heading to my classroom. But on this particular day, it just looked a little quieter on the playground. So typically I would walk into school and I would see kids playing on the swings, the slides. It'd be depending on how soon or later I got there, depended on how much I'd play, or maybe I needed to go right to class. And so I'm walking towards my 1st grade classroom. I'm looking around and I just don't see anybody. And I know there's one of 2 things. Either I'm really early today, or I'm really late and I need to hurry up. So I make my way to the classroom and the door's locked. So then I think I must be pretty early. So what I do is I sit down on the ground, I just wait. And then what felt like 17 hours, but it was probably 30 minutes went by and nobody showed up. And I'm starting to get a little nervous. You see, if you back up a couple of days, I used to be the kid who would like race to everything. And there was always this girl that sat next to me who used to get ready before me at the end of every day in the classroom. And I noticed while I was nicely filing my papers away, she would just cram hers in her backpack. And I thought, that's ingenious. And so I started doing the same thing. Now, she didn't know we were in competition, but we were. And I'd like you to know I won. And so I would cram these papers into the book bag and I took them home. And on this particular morning, I emptied all my papers out onto a sort of round futon type of what do you call it, couch thing. It's like this round thing you sit in. Anyways, so a chair, let's call it a chair. I dump it all into a chair. I head to school. My parents have not read the papers. Turns out there was no school this day. I didn't know this. I'm sitting at my class outside my classroom, scared. It feels like it's been an eternity. I'm just looking around. There's nobody showing up. Eventually, these two teachers start walking up, and they kind of had this look like, what is he doing here? And they get closer, and then they kind of just said one thing, and they said, what are you doing here? Are you okay? And I just started crying. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I've been here 17 hours, but it's probably only 45 minutes. And all of a sudden, my hero, my dad, comes running around the corner in his military suit. He's like G.I. Joe, just taking off. He comes over, he picks me up, he scoops me, and he takes me back in his safe G.I. Joe arms back to the car, and we head home. The reality is, I saw him that day as the hero who rescued me from a scariest moment of my 7-year-old life. He felt like the worst dad on the planet because he dropped his little boy off at school on a day that there was no school. Can you imagine the panic in his mind when he's sitting at home with his coffee after he dropped me off and he's going through all my crumbled papers and he opens the little pink one up or the green one and it says, "Dear parents, on Monday, February 3rd, there will be no school." And he looks at his watch and says, "That's today." And he sprints off to get me from school, and I'm just crying. There's a reason I tell you that. He saw himself as the worst father ever, but I saw him as my biggest hero in that moment. You see, dads, we are so insecure and so worried about being the perfect parent, but your kids don't care if you mess up. They only need to know that you care. So all those traits you put down are amazing. They're all, they're better ones than I could come up with. But the reality is you don't have to hold up to all those to be a great dad. You just need to let your kids know that you love them for them being them. Literally, simply for being. Now, today I'm going to give you 2 things, though, that you can do to immediately level up as dad. And I'll go about 20 minutes and I'm done. The first thing is you must be, and someone wrote this, intentional. And the second is you must learn to control your ego. You see, intentional parenting is just like it sounds. Parenting with intentions. The focus is on living a life of intention. And the foundation of intentional parenting is what's called conscious parenting. And that's a term I want you to write down and remember. It's called conscious parenting. You see, a conscious parent is focused more on the parent and how they can improve as a person. This means that instead of you constantly striving to sort of fix your child, You're no longer looking outward at the child. You're looking inward at yourself. I want you to write the end of this statement down. As a parent, we should be focusing on blank. Put it in the chat. As a parent, we should be focusing on what? Communication, stability, children. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. Growth, children's perspectives, being present, development of children, understanding our children, behaviors, modeling. Ooh, that's a nice one. Ourselves, Dave. Did you see my notes? All right. As a parent, it is a sort of misnomer that we should be constantly focusing on our children. But the reality is, parenting is called parenting because it's about the parent. Have you ever thought about that? See, conscious parenting views children as like independent people from which we can consciously learn where and how to improve through self-awareness. I'll say that again. Sorry, Elise. Or else it would be called childrening. Exactly. I'm going to say it again. Conscious parenting views children as independent people from which the parents can consciously learn where to improve through self-awareness. So at the core, what does this mean? It means that your child is a reflection of you. Now, some people love this, some people hate this. But the reality is it is what it is. And you need to view it as a positive because this tells you by watching your children where you should improve as parent. And this is actually a positive because when you accept full responsibility for yourself, you can fix things and model the appropriate ways. When we place blame somewhere else, it's not my fault, he did it, or my wife does that, or his brother does that, my uncle, my grandfather, we all have that, right? My father-in-law is the one that models that behavior. It's always the in-laws. But when we accept full responsibility, that means we are in control to fix it. When we give someone else the blame, we need them to unlock it for us. Therefore, it's always on us to fix it because we can model the behavior. That's a conscious parenting. Is this the quick fix? No. We all want our kids to stop throwing tantrums, to listen better in school, all those things. And yes, it seems easier to just kind of smack them on the butt and tell them that's not how we do things. But can I tell you something? They're not the dog. You can't put their nose in it and tell them no, and they just submit. It doesn't work that way. This is the long-term solution for strong, healthy, young adults. Remember this statement. You are no longer raising children. I need everyone to understand this. You are raising adults. That is a completely different mindset. When you understand that you are raising adults, you're not raising children. They're already children. When you are raising adults, that changes the game. All right, here's what I want you to do real quick. Take 60 seconds while I take a drink of water and write down your top 5 goals for your children. Don't get too deep into it. Just think, what would be the top 5 things I want my goals I have for my kids? Thanks for the vulnerability, Josh. Rocco, thanks so much for getting ahead of the game. Yes, drop some of those in once you get them too. I was just trying to give you guys a minute, but drop some of those goals in, whatever you feel like comfortable to share. To be good to others, being good human beings, independent, to be comfortable being themselves. That's nice. Happy and fulfilled, healthy, sufficient, know they're loved, happy, be an educator, moral. Never let anyone tell you you can't do. Resilient, successful in their own right, not blame themselves or for our failed marriage. That's deep, Jonathan. Thank you. Resilient, good leaders, being authentic, to be themselves. Producers, not consumers. Sounds like an entrepreneur family. Confident, aware, helpful. Be independent thinkers, to be happy. Failure is growing. I like that, Dave. Dave, you've been dropping all kinds of good comments in here today. Courage and growth mindset, healthy, educated, law-abiding, creative. You can produce love too, to be responsible. I'm going out of breath reading these things. Nice. All right. So let's talk a little bit about our egos, dads. We all have them. An ego is not bad or good. It literally simply just is. Everyone has ego. Everyone has an ego. So when we think of goals for our children, the word goal implies something we are working toward in the future, right? That's why we set them. If we didn't already have them, we wouldn't set the goal. And most of us set goals for ourselves, and then we set goals for our children, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. And some of you mentioned great qualities that are like internal reflection type qualities, values, so forth. And some set goals to be an educator, to be successful financially, whatever that would be, follow their dreams. Okay, let's start talking first with the internal values of being joyful and creative and so forth. And trust me, as parents, even myself, who's been studying this for a long time, even I have things in my imagination that I would love for my children to sort of become. But here's the deal. You mentioned all these great qualities that you want them to reflect. Do they not already have these inside of them? Let me ask you that again. Don't your children already have these values internally? If they were created internally already innately good and great, don't they already have good values, good morals, the things you've taught them? Aren't they already good people, caring, loving? So if they already have these inside, you no longer have to draw them out, right? I want you to remember a statement. Parenting is like gardening. You see, are you saying they genetically have them? Yes. I'm saying there's certain things that your children already have inside at their current stage. They may already have love, like they already may be loving, caring, and things that we've listed. But there's obviously certain values and things you can teach them, but they don't have to be goals for us to sort of get our kids there before they're 18. Parenting is like gardening. So when a gardener has a seed, the gardener's only job is to make sure the seed grows into what it was created to be. Like the seed was already destined to become something. You see, an apple tree was never designed to become a rose bush. Therefore, all the gardener needs to do is plant the apple tree seed and then put it in the right environment to become what God or the universe, whatever you believe, has created it to become. It's only when the gardener decides that that apple tree should be in the environment of a rose bush that the apple tree does not turn into a rose bush. It turns into a sad, sad apple tree. It bears little fruit. and gives little value to the world. But if the gardener puts that apple tree in the right environment, it grows, it bears fruit, it's beautiful, and all of its value is given to the world. The same thing is with parenting. It's not my job to tell my kids what to become. I'm not here to tell my son to be an engineer, my daughter to be a soccer player, or anything like that. It's literally for me to create the environment so that they can grow into what they were meant to be. And it's only when I start putting my goals on my children that it deters them from their own being. So, like, for example, I have something here I'll show you. My daughter's 8 years old. She's in the 2nd grade. And we are big on putting our children in environments to help them discover things and traits and their love for sports or arts or whatever it is. I really don't care what it is. I was a soccer kid. My son never got into it. Does he like sports? Yes, but he loves to wrestle. I don't understand it, right? I was an art kind of kid when I was in high school. My son didn't get into it. So we've put them into different environments to let them just try, grow, mess up. And my daughter, she's 8, and she started taking art classes because we knew she had this, like, she's the kid who creates art projects all around the house. Like, it was so bad, I had to create her an art room because it was everywhere, right? And you try not to squash it, but at the same time, your kitchen table can only take so much. And so this past week, she created her best masterpiece ever. I hope you guys can see it. I don't know how close this is. And she's 8. And she painted this amazing, beautiful painting for us. This tree that's a heart that I don't even know. It's just got these leaves. It's a Valentine's thing. And she's 8. I didn't paint like this when I was 8. Now, granted, is her art teacher good? Sure. But it's just this little shop. It's not a special, I mean, it's special to her, but it's not like it's some world-renowned art teacher. It's just a lady in a small shop down the road. And I'll tell you, everybody in there creates beautiful projects, but not everybody creates them at the same level. But Lily loves it. And so when she shows up with passion. How much am I selling it for? I'll let you know, Tom. She's quite the entrepreneur. She shows up with passion, and she just with love, and everything she does, she puts into it. On the same note, she plays on a soccer team. She's pretty good, but I know deep down she doesn't love it. She's finishing off the season. She's been playing for a couple years. My goal isn't to make her renew next year, even though I would love for her to. I was a soccer guy, because I know it's not her passion. And no matter how hard I push her towards that, no matter how many training sessions I put her into, she's not going to love it. She's just going to like it. And here's my fear. If I push her too far to go down that skill, she could develop it and be good. But when I push her to go down and be good in soccer or whatever, for whatever reason, all it's going to do is dilute the other things that she's amazing at. She'll never get to explore those things. And granted, she's 8. So it's only when you're able to connect with your children as they presently are, seeing them as everything they need to be, like in this precise moment, that you can provide them with everything they need as a parent. I'll say it again. When you can connect with them and realize that where they are right now is exactly where they need to be. They're not too far behind. They're not too far forward. Where they are is perfect. Then you can provide them with the parenting that they need. My son is a great student. He's the kid who's in like a grade higher math and all those things. That's the easy kid to have for school, right? Because the grades are always amazing and you literally never help them. So everybody's like, oh, great, your son's so smart. My daughter repeated 2nd grade. She's not less smart than him. She just didn't pick up some of the foundational things through COVID and so forth. And we thought it was best to remove our egos and to let her do it again. She's exactly where she needs to be. No further back, no further forward. And that's the same for you, dads, the exact same spot. Your children are exactly where they're supposed to be. You're not doing bad. You're doing just fine. All this boils down to one thing. Instead of matching your child to what I call the way, match the way to the child. Do you guys understand that? I wish I could see your faces. Don't put the child in the path. Make the path around the child. This should set you free. Because once you realize that you can let go of your own checklist for how life should be done, releasing these like imaginary checklists that we come up with, everything they need to learn, everything they need to know by this deadline, allows your children to become free to develop their true identity and sense of self. Ultimately, this will help your children connect with you, Dad, since they're being accepted for who they really are and not what you want them to become or how you want them to act. Yes, Alyssa, thank you. Let me ask you this, and you don't have to write this down, or you can, I mean, in the chat. What did you personally accomplish before the age of 11 that changed the trajectory of your life forever in a positive way? Like, what is that accomplishment that you hit by let's say that's the 5th grade, that has completely changed everything for your life forever? If there's nothing, just type none. Beautiful. You rebuilt the car engine. Dave, you're killing me today. Oh, it's amazing. So thank you. There's no wrong answers. Here's the thing. Most people said nothing. And that's true for most of us. And the reality is, all your checklists for where your kids need to be before junior high, it's a great intention. But until you can see them for them, right? It's hard for them to see your love for their innate self. And understanding that you personally, as great as you are, did not have to learn any one thing before the age of 11 to become who you are now should make you understand that your kids don't have to have it figured out before middle school to also become great adults. And those of you who had something, for the most part, it's not a forced accomplishment. It's a self-discovery of passion. You don't take apart an entire car and put it back together unless you love it. Someone said ministry, right? This is a heart movement, not a head movement. Okay. Last thing, and I'll wrap up and we'll get to the VIPs. There's 3 things that every child wants to know. Am I seen? Am I worthy? And do I matter? That's what they're seeking from you. They're saying, Dad, do you see me for who I am? Not for what you want me to be? Like, do you see me? Am I worthy? Am I worthy of you? Do I need to go and accomplish things to be worthy, or am I worthy because I am? And while I think most dads would say, hey, my son, my daughter is worthy for who they are, Let's make sure our words match up to that. On Sunday, my son, he wrestles. And a year ago, so he started wrestling a year ago, and he lost almost every match. And when you're in the 5th grade at the time, it's a hard age to lose almost every match because it literally hurts. And it's hard for dad to watch. And this year he came back and he's been very good. Every tournament he's been in 1st or 2nd place, which is great. I'm really proud of him because he's put in the effort, the work. He wanted to do it. He goes to extra practice. Great. The very next day, we're in the doctor for him to get a hearing test. And while we're just sitting there, he can see down the window. He can see through the main door. I mean, there's always that little window, so you can see sort of who's on the other side of the door. And there was an older lady walking to the door. I didn't notice it. He looked up, he saw it. He hopped right out of she had a cane. He hopped right out of his seat, went to the door, opened the door, and held it open for her. On Sunday, he's a champ in wrestling. Great. I'm really proud of him. On Monday, he stops everything to go help somebody else because that's his core value. That was my most proud moment that week. Not wrestling, but how many of us dads get so caught up in the first one because everybody in the arena is watching. There's 400 parents plus in this arena watching my son and everybody else's son. They're not really watching just mine, but we think they are watching him wrestle and win these matches. Great. Look at my son, little Hulk, right? The next day, though, without anybody looking, without him looking for my approval, he gets up and goes and helps somebody else do something that they needed. That's what you promote. Yes, it was a proud problem. It was an emotional moment that you have to hold in at the doctor so not everybody sees you cry. Manly stuff. Just teasing. All right. I get this question a lot, and then I'll wrap up. A lot of people say, how do I know if my ego is influencing my parenting? And so I have a few questions that you can reflect on, and then we're done. The first one is, are you pushing your children towards your ideal dreams and goals for them? The key word, your ideal dreams and goals for them. Do you use shame or blame language? Here's what that sounds like. If you weren't so slow in the morning, we wouldn't be late to get to school. Shame or blame language. If you would have stopped that goal, the team would have won. Does it matter if the team lost because your son missed the goal? It's either a learning moment. How often do you take situations with your child personally? And I'll give this last example on that statement, and then I'm done. Because you have to ask yourself, do you get mad and correct your child based on the merit of the decision or on how you sort of assume that action makes you appear to others? So it was about 2 months ago, maybe 3. My son got a detention at school. So I give all these great stories about my kids, right? He's had a couple of detentions. He goes to a really cool school. It does these projects and so forth. It's a great learning environment, but it's also the most strict environment I've ever seen in my life. So he gets a detention, and my wife gets a little irritated, and we kind of like thought about it for a minute. The detention was for slam dunking a ball into a ball bag that someone else was holding. Now, granted, when I was a kid, there was no other way to put a ball away, right? You had to slam dunk it. It was a rite of passage. But at this school, apparently that's lunch detention. Why? I don't know. It doesn't matter. But he slam dunked it. He got a detention. And as dad, you don't want your kid to get a detention, right? But it's things like this that causes parents to get frustrated. So then I had to ask myself, am I going to be frustrated because my son got a detention, or am I going to just let it go because the action was not a big deal? Why do they award detentions for slam dunking the ball in a ball bag? I have no idea. Do I think it's dumb? Pretty much. But it doesn't matter. He has core good values. He went, served his detention during lunch. It was fine. I had to ask myself, if he did that at home, would I get mad? No, wouldn't care. I wouldn't even talk. I wouldn't even think about it. So why would I get mad if he did that at school and then got in trouble for it? Now, if the teacher told him, hey, we don't do that, and he went and did it again, I mean, I guess that's another story, a listening thing. But the reality is the action wasn't a malicious intent. He didn't do anything mean, bad. He didn't hurt anybody. They just didn't like him slam dunking the ball. Okay, that's fine. He serves it. His punishment was lunch detention. Is it worth me getting on him again? It's not hurting anybody. Those are the things as parents you have to keep in mind. If I get mad, it's only because I'm frustrated because my son got this detention. Or like for you, it could be that your child got a C or a D in their 5th grade class. The reality is they just didn't understand it as well. You probably are going to blame them for not trying hard enough, but nobody's going to look at their 5th grade scores ever again. So instead of getting on them and screaming at them, just help them work through it. All right, so I got more stuff I could go on all day. That's what I have for now. If you guys, I don't know, let me see if I can drop this in. There's my LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram, John Lebrun 3. You can follow me on there. I'm not nearly as active. I'm working on it. I'm not like Elise, who has her A game on all platforms all the time. We're getting there, fam, but get on there, connect with me, send me a DM. I have actually a private group. It's free and some amazing dads. It's a relatively new group. DM me, I'll hook you up, drop you in there, and you can just be part of the conversation. I don't sell anything to people in there. It's literally just a place for dads to show up, brag about their kids, me to drop content so you can learn and level up. So Elise, thank you so much for this time.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much, John. That was awesome. I loved so many points in there that you had about dads. And I'm sure everybody in the comment section, you guys had some amazing answers. Thank you for your participation. Everybody who is here right now, we do have a separate section for VIP, but because this is benefiting dads and I have such a place in my heart for children, I'm going to let everybody who's here right now stay for VIP. You don't get access to the VIP recording. But if you want to ask questions to John, I want anybody who's here to stay and listen to the answers and ask the questions, because being a good dad is so important and being an active dad is so important, and our children really matter. They are the future. So we're going to head into VIP right now. Since no one has to leave, we're not going to take a break. We already have some questions in the Q&A. So put all your questions in Q&A. I'm going to be reading them off to John. He's going to be answering them as I read them off. And then I have questions of my own. So as we continue doing that, we'll just go. So starting with question number 1, how to repair adult relationships with our kids. Oh, John, we can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I have a habit of muting so I don't like cough or something when you're talking. So the general question is, how do we repair adult relationships with our kids?
Yep.
Wow. That's like a loaded question. It's a great question. I'll give a couple of tips, but I will also caveat with this. I don't have adult children. And while I don't ever like to give advice to something that I don't 100% understand, because nobody knows everything. If anybody says they know everything about all leadership, all parenting, just run. I'll tell you this. I've had lots of friends who've had hard relationships with their parents. And typically it was because there was a cutoff somewhere, often in the teenage years. Like my wife and her father, when we started dating, had a terrible relationship. It started with divorce, and her father would blame her for not getting to communicate with his ex-wife, my wife's mother. And it was a nasty relationship. And I was so blessed to have 2 parents that both loved each other and, stuck it out in good and bad times and all that good stuff. But she just didn't. And so I didn't understand why she wouldn't try. I'm like, honey, just try. Just reach out to him. She goes, no, you don't understand. So it wasn't until our wedding when I realized how bad it was. And she invited him, and we honestly didn't know if he was going to show up. And not because he didn't want to, but because he was the guy who would rather not come out of his comfort zone and get around people he doesn't know than to just go through that. He wouldn't mind if he just kind of let us down, really let her down, and then he would just figure it out later. That kind of guy. So it started with the divorce was sort of the break, and it just kept getting worse. Today, they don't have the relationship that like I have with my parents. But I'll tell you, he's always welcome in our home. He comes over multiple times a year now. He sees my kids. He loves my kids. He's a great grandfather to them on the handful of times he comes over. And the relationship, while it might not be strong, it's fixed. Because it is what it is. She met him at his level of sort of commitment to that connection. But it just took time. And it took a lot of times for her just saying, hey, Dad, why don't you come out to this? You see, but the thing is, she had to not put expectations on her father. When you put expectations on anybody, you're going to get let down eventually. So just allowing him, knowing like, my dad's just kind of him. He's going to be what he is. And now I don't know if you're talking about yours with your children or you with your parents. And so that's a whole conversation. I mean, happy to have them with you later as well. But in general, I would say, one, it takes time. And two, it takes constant like trying and baby steps. So just for the first thing you can do is just forgiveness. For whatever has happened, it doesn't matter. Just start from forgiveness and love. And then start making baby steps, just little tiny pieces. And understand that, see, I'm 39. I've been an adult now for, what is that, like 19 years? Nope, 20. Whatever the math is from when I was in high school is that many years. And 21 years. There it is. I still have like 60 more to go, 50 more to go. I have way more adult years left, and so do you. So you have plenty of time to repair that relationship. So just take your best foot forward.
That's so beautiful. If I could actually add into that, John.
Yes.
Just from a personal perspective, because I'm obviously an adult, so I'm an adult child of a dysfunctional parent-child relationship where obviously you guys know I have a lot of tools and I've tried everything in the book to heal relationships with my parents. And one thing that you said earlier, John, was letting go of our ego, that our child has to be who we want them to be. And as a child, I had to let go of who I wanted my parents to be. And if you're a parent of an adult child, you might have to let go of the relationship that you desire for your children, because at the end of the day, everybody makes their own choices. And the number one thing that I've seen being an inability to mend a relationship is just one party's lack of effort to understand the other person or their incapability. Like my parents just don't have the mental capacity nor the desire to do the work it takes to create a relationship that I want. They are perfectly happy with the relationship that we have being surface level. And if I want to maintain that relationship at all, then I have to just accept that for what it is. So just coming from a child perspective, right? Like I can't control that. And the more I think I can, or try to use my tools to like negotiate or navigate, the more miserable I get, because I'm trying to make them into something they're not. Our parents are not something that we can create or manufacture, and neither are our children. So I love that question. I just want to answer from a personal standpoint. And some of these talk about trauma, so I might jump in a couple other times if that's okay, John. But the next question is, when you have traumatic childhood wounds that affect you being a father, how do you be a great father when working through those wounds simultaneously?
So I'm really glad that you recognize that you have the wounds. But I would say and Elise might be better answer this, but I'm gonna give you my best thing. Wounds are things that have happened to you, but it doesn't mean it's who you are. So I had somebody in I have this program, excuse me, called the Intentional Dad Blueprint. And it's literally a blueprint that I designed and so forth. And I take people through a 12-week process, a 12-week course in a small cohort. And someone came to me and said, John, you don't understand. I'm having this problem with my daughter and we're just arguing all the time. She's 11, same age as your son, but she's just like, she's getting like physically abusive towards myself, my wife, and all these things. And then he started going into how it's his fault, he thinks, because of the things that have happened to him in his life. And I was like, well, buddy, understand, like these happen to you, but it doesn't mean that because you're abused that you're abusive. It doesn't mean that, I'll just leave it at that. And so just because things have hurt you doesn't mean that his fear, if I'm trying not to say his name, his fear is that the things that happen to him, he's going to project to his children, like almost like innately it's him. The reality is it's not you, because you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't care so much about your children that you're staying up all night on a webinar with a guy that you've never met. It's not like I have anything, like you're not getting anything to take home, right? And so obviously, yes, we can talk deeper into that, and Elise probably has something to say to that. But don't take your garbage and think that you're now handing it out to somebody else, because you're not. Yes, you have to deal with it. We all do. We all have baggage. But the reality is your kids love you. They love you so much. And now just don't think that because someone was verbally abusive to you or whatever that is, that you are just, it's sort of that people used to tell me, I used to hear this a lot. It would say, oh, it's they scream at their kids and they say, it's my dad's, what do you want to call it? What's the word? I'm losing the words. My dad used to blow up at me and it's just him coming out of me. That's what it was. And I'm like, well, no, he's not coming out of you because he's not here. Like, you're still you. So if there's anything that you feel like you're projecting onto your kids, own it and just fix it. But the reality is you're a good person. In your garbage, the things that happen to you doesn't mean that it happens to them.
Love that, John. And I actually just want to emphasize with that a point that you made earlier about the whole purpose of parenting, which I love when you said this, is focusing on parent, right? And not always on child. And when we go through childhood wounds, we are so afraid that we're going to mess up while focusing on them. And the only way that you can really help your child is by helping yourself. So if you're healing from your childhood wounds, the best way to help them is just help you, have a therapist, have a coach who can help you heal the wounds. And as you're healing, it heals them. So I love that. Okay. So, John, can you talk about redeeming yourself after a broken marriage to your kids?
I would ask the question first, if you can jump in the chat. Why do you feel like you need to redeem? What are you redeeming from? I'm just giving a second answer. Because the reality is, I get it. You feel guilty. I'm going to guess you feel like it's partly your fault. And let's be honest, and most times when there's a broken relationship, it's both people's fault. It's okay. My wife and I aren't always 100% on the same page, and it's both our faults. And we realize we need some date nights because this last 2 weeks seems like we've been kind of like, and never even. Okay. I wish I could see if he was typing.
Yeah, he doesn't appear to answer. So why don't we give him a minute to answer and we'll go to the next question. So we have an older dad who says, my oldest daughter has divorced her mom and I, but includes denying access to 2 grandchildren. Where do we go?
Mm. Older dad. My oldest daughter has divorced her mom and I. Oh, so basically she's basically said, I disown you and I have your two children and you can't see them. Well, I would say the relationship you have to repair is going to be between you and your oldest daughter. And so I've had relationships where I knew they were broken, but I knew, like, for me, it was like, it's on that person, right? I remember, so when I was in my mid 20s, I had this really strong relationship with my first sort of male mentor figure in my life. And I trusted him with everything, right? He knew my problems. He was really there for me, like in a good spiritual sort of way for quite a few years, helped me work through some things. He was there for me when I was really trying to I was the guy who wanted to be an entrepreneur and people to understand it and they would make fun of me and different things, just all kinds of crazy. But this was a sort of guy who just stepped into my life, said, I'm going to be there for you, help you with your stuff. And then one day he really cut me hard when he tried to do some things, and it really put a tension between me and my family. It's hard to give the whole story. And from that moment, we were done. So we have years, then just stopped. He made a terrible decision. And then one day I'm in a leadership and someone said, hey, there's somebody in your life you need to forgive. You know who it is right now. Why are you holding on to it? And I thought, it's him. It's the only person I could think of. Now, it's his fault. It's been 10 years and he should be coming to me to apologize to me because he nearly ruined my family, not my wife and I, but the relationship between me and my parents. He almost destroyed it by manipulation, different things like that. And he just wouldn't do it. But I knew I was carrying this baggage for 10 years after this. So I sent him a message. I sent him a voice message. I said, hey, brother, look, it's been 10 years. We haven't talked. I just, I forgive you. I haven't actually really thought about it in several years. But I just want to let you know, hey, if you'd be up for catching up, I'd love to. So we went and caught up. Now, when we caught up, I realized he was still carrying a ton of that baggage, and he let it all out, and that's fine. He didn't see himself as the issue, and that's fine. But at least it gave us a foundation to start the next relationship. Are we ever going to be best friends? No, we're just not. We're on different worlds nowadays. But now I can see him, look him in the eyes, and give him a handshake when I run into him, and not have like ill thoughts. So I would say, if it's on you, whatever that happened, you have to step up and apologize. If it's on them, you have to step up and apologize and just start the relationship at ground zero. That's the only thing you can do, or you're never going to see those beautiful grandchildren. Because some people's egos, you say your daughter, women have egos too. It's not just men.
And he also added into the chat that they've been trying, but it's been 2.5 years. So this is obviously probably needs a little bit more detail.
And forgive me, guys. A lot of these questions are so deep. I mean, deep, like you probably have to talk to somebody in multiple sessions to get to the root of it. I'm just trying to give you my best go at the general.
Yeah, we won't be able to dive too deeply because some of you guys are asking questions about trauma. So John is doing an amazing job, but I just want to let some of you guys know we may not be able to get to like the core wound of these things. But
if you need trauma healing, I'm gonna just throw this out there. You're probably best to reach out to Elise because I'm pretty sure this is right in her sort. I'm just saying, I am best at teaching dads and men, right? Sort of from here going forward, better than I am fixing that back there. It just is what it is. I didn't live a life of a lot of trauma. I mean, it wasn't perfect. I had my things, but I'm best at, hey, you want to be a great dad and you want to move forward. You want your kids to strive and be amazing. Here's the route. Now there's things in that about past a little bit, but when they're really deep, I would bet money that Elise is the person that you should be contacting or setting up a one-on-one with if she does that.
Thanks, John. We're going to continue asking you questions though, because the people want answers from this.
Yeah.
And anybody who wants to see either of us, remember John's LinkedIn is in the chat. And also I'm going to send it in the follow-up email as well. I tag him in the social media post. So connect with him for he's got that free Facebook group. But John, your next question, I'm going to give you a less trauma-induced one for a second. Mm-hmm. What's the best way to connect with older teen sons when your dad wasn't there for you growing up? This sounds like he didn't have a very good role model. And so he really wants to connect with his male children, but maybe doesn't know how.
Oh, this is amazing. So first of all, you not having a dad has nothing to do with you not connecting with your child. I should have caveated this whole session with, picture this like you're going to the grocery store. Some things you're going to take off the shelf and put in your cart. Some things you're going to put back. The only way I know how to teach is through complete authenticity and truth. I'm really bad at like softening it. I try, but ask my wife. It just sometimes it just is what it is. But it's often hardest to be the most truthful with the people that you love the most. And so I don't even see your faces. I just can feel it. But you did not having a dad, and I'm sorry for real that he wasn't there for you. It sucks. But here's the deal. You recognize that. It's amazing. You know how many people don't have dads and then they just say, that's my excuse forever. I don't have a dad, so I'm just going to take off. Bro, that's not you. What is that, Matt? Yeah, Matt, that's not you, buddy. So you're here. You're obviously a great dad. Now, the next step is, how can I connect with my teen sons even better? I think you said 16. Yeah. Here's what I do to connect with my son. He's not quite 16, but just some tips and tricks. So you have to be intentional about everything you do, right? That's how you live and so forth. But you also have to be intentional about connecting with your child. So many times as parents, we allow the world to sort of parent and influence our kids. The world is noisy and confused. I'm not saying you have to see the world like I see it, but if I could have a completely polar opposite view of the world than you, your child's still getting a confused version of how you think the world is viewed because the world doesn't know. Therefore, you have to be intentional about your conversations with your children, which means you have to have planned conversations. You can't just let it happen whenever it seems like it might be a good time because it will never be a good time. So a few tips. One, you need to have somewhere in your home that you and your teens put your cell phones. In our house, it's called the no phone zone. I'm sorry, the phone zone. So when you walk in the house, we have this little like deal. I don't know. It's almost like something you put your mail into, and it holds the car keys and stuff right by the door. It also is a spot for us to put our cell phones. I'm not saying they stay there all day because there's times when I need my phone, like right now. I had it when I was connecting. That's fine. But a friend of mine once told me, he goes, I didn't want my kids' lasting image of me to be me with my face in the phone. But when you have your face in the phone, it also kind of tells everybody, not right now. And so therefore, that's one thing we do. Another thing we do, I look for intentional times to have conversations with my son. So when am I with him that I could also use that to have great conversations? The easiest one is in the car. So when you get in the car, turn off the radio. There's typically nothing good coming out of it anyways. For us, it was podcasts. My son's that weird kid who loves to listen to like Lewis Howes on a podcast. I know it's weird. I don't know what to say. But so we might get like an 8-minute podcast in as I drive him to school every day. But when I have every day we have a little mini conversation. And when I have something important, I like, hey buddy, why don't you sit in the front? Is it ideal to sit in the front? Not really. He's big enough now. But that's when I can sit with him right next to me and we'll talk about things. We'll talk about the things that school is going to talk about, but I need to get in front of it, like puberty. Because I don't know how they teach it. It's where I can sit there and every day be like, hey, how's school going? And the key to your kids opening up is that you can't just be there when trauma happens. You have to have been there all through the steps before then. So they're comfortable coming to you when the trauma happens. So that what that means though is they have to know that you love and care for them for just being. So when's the last time you went to him and said, hey, buddy, proud of you, bro? I'm saying it like you're talking to a 16-year-old. That's how I talk to my son. I'm like, what's up, buddy? How are you? He's like, I'm good, Dad. I'm like, good. Hey, this is not after he wins a wrestling match. This is not after he does something good. It's literally when he's going to bed. So we sort of tuck our kids in, but he's kind of old to be tucked in. So what I do is I walk into his room every night when I'm home and sit in his bed, and he'll be 16 and I'll still do this. So, hey, buddy, how are you doing? He's like, good. How's school? Good. How's this? Good. How's your girlfriend? Good. He's got a girlfriend now. And I'm like, maybe I'll joke with him, and I tell him all the time, like, hey, I love you, right? Good. And I'm like, and I'm just so proud of you just for being the young man that you are. That's it. It's not for wrestling. It's not for your grades. It's not for your good choices at home, just for being you. Now he knows that Dad loves him no matter what. That's how you start the relationship. I hope that helps.
Oh, that was so good, John. I love that. Diving even deeper, this is a personal story, not from me, just in this chat box. I'm going to read it word for word. This is very eye-opening. Thank you. I'm 3 months into a separation and I'm struggling with co-parenting. Not because my ex is making it hard, but because I still hold a lot of trauma from how the separation occurred and she's pretending like we ended on good terms. I know I need to show my kids that mom and dad are still a team, but my ego gets in the way. Any advice on how to put on a brave face for my kids?
I know I need to show my kids that mom and dad are still on good terms when my ego gets in the way. Well, it sounds to me, Jonathan, like you've already, am I allowed to say, everybody can see these, right? If I just called your name out, I'm sorry.
Everyone can see them. It's fine.
Okay. You already identified that your ego has gotten in the way. Now we all have one though. It's just controlling the ego. You're an open book. Thanks, buddy. My mistake. I wasn't trying to put your garbage up, everybody. But so I don't know. Okay, so two things. Whether you're divorced or not divorced, you should never be arguing with your spouse or ex-spouse in front of your kids. Because I tell this to people who I mentor, who want to constantly like just give me like everything they're concerned. Like some people have real issues and some people want to complain, right, about life. And so I'll tell them like, look, I'm not the garbage can. You don't just dump the trash in me, right? The same thing with your kids. When you want to argue with your spouse or ex-wife, you can't do it in front of them because they don't know the whole story. And so all they're going to do is pick pieces out. And then now all they can do is pick a side. Mom and dad are arguing. When somebody's in fighting, you pick a side. So you have to make sure those stay away from the kids. Now, I understand it's hard sometimes when one person in the marriage or broken marriage will not wait, right? I've seen that. I've had family members do that. Well, they'll just let it out in front of all of us. We're like, okay. But the reality is you try to keep much of that sort of out of the children's eyes as possible and out of their ears because they don't understand. They don't comprehend all that. So start there with that. But other than that, how do you put on a brave face for your kids? You don't have to always put on a brave face. It's okay. We act like, remember when I said we were raising adults? Like, it's okay not to give all of your problems to your children, but it's okay if they see that you're having a vulnerable moment and that you're processing through it in the right way. They don't need to see you being vulnerable and throwing things across the room. But when they see you there and you're like, hey guys, I need a walk. And you go for a walk. Or, hey dad, are you there? You okay? Yeah, I'm just kind of working on my breathing right now. I'm a little bit irritated. I just don't want to scream. What better way for them to learn how to manage their emotions than to watch you do it? But that means you have to manage them in the right way. Because if you do it by screaming, throwing, they'll do the same. So when you really do a good job with that, keeping yourself centered, guys, I'm a little irritated. I need a minute. What do you think they're going to do? Isn't that the best lesson ever? So I think you're doing fine.
So good. You mentioned the best way to be a parent is to work on yourself. Do you have any books that have been beneficial in your life?
Oh gosh, yes. Where's my phone? Let me show you. Let me share. You guys like audiobooks or reading books? Because not all authors are great audiobooks. I'm gonna give you one right now. That's one of my favorites. It's an audiobook, and it's really not even a book. He basically recorded a seminar, and it sounds like it was like 1990s Reading Rainbow kind of thing. But I'm telling you, it's really good. I've listened to it multiple times, and I recommend everybody do it. It is called. You think I would have it all memorized? Where'd it go? Oops. It's called. Oops. What do you really want for your children? I'll type that in. And get the audio version of this. And it's by Wayne. Yes, Dyer. Thank you. And then the other one, my other favorite person is her name is Dr. Shafali. Her name, anything she writes is amazing. Shafali Sawberry. There's a book she writes called The Awakened Family. It's like you'll if you read this, you're gonna go back into these notes of recording and be like, John stole her stuff, pretty much. I mean, I didn't really like. Eventually, you do things so much, you kind of develop your own twist and IPs and stuff. But she was the foundation for how I did so much. Between her and Dr. Dyer are my two favorites. I'm telling you now, her audiobooks. I hope you didn't see this. They're not as interesting to listen to. They're just not. It's too technical. It's very philosophical. So you really need to be able to read it, highlight a bit, and go back and be like, "What was that again?" But the great reads. Dr. Dyer is a great listen.
I can totally second that. He's so good for personal and self-development as well. I love that guy. Rest in peace. Okay, next question. I have messed up my marriages in 2 different continents, both with child, and have failed them big time. Trying to stay in touch and support. Any advice on how I can deal with this? The best way to repair relationships with them in the future when they are mature. I guess my one question before John even jumps in is, why are you waiting until they're mature to repair the relationships? Why is there a gap?
Yeah, first thing I noticed is you said you failed them big time, and I don't know what that means. It could really be big time, or maybe not. But I'm glad you identified it and took ownership for it. I would say try not to keep doing it. You're gonna always mess up. Here's the deal: we always mess up. There's been times I've gotten so frustrated, right? And I'm like, John, this isn't you. And what do? You go and apologize. Even if you yell at your kids, they'll understand. So I'm glad you've seen that. You don't wait to repair anything. Bad news is always served on a warm plate. And so the best time is always yesterday. The second best time is today. And waiting for tomorrow will never get done. So I would say the first thing you need to do is reach out, and you should be apologizing and owning up to whatever it is you did. And also, so many people think just because they said sorry that they should be forgiven. And in a perfect world, sure, but that's not the reality. We're hurt. How many times have you been hurt? And someone's like, but I'm sorry. And you're like, and right? Give it time. Time heals things, but it's going to take multiple efforts. Not
Give
just
it time and give it actions. Like you just said,
Exactly.
it's the action is the greatest apology. I don't know where you heard that from, but action is the greatest apology. Sorry, John, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I'm done.
I was fired up with what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
Great questions, guys. It actually looks like we went through all of the Q&A. Does anybody have any last minute questions before we get off the session? And free John from his time here tonight. He's been here for
You're
almost an
good.
hour and a half with us. This is amazing. So
Do you mind if I leave them with something like to sign up into? Not like I'm not to sell into, but does John have a book? Not yet. I have 2 that I started and have not been consistent enough to actually finish them, if I'm being transparent. But my books are for my kids, because one of my deepest fears is that I would leave the earth before I was able to sort of get them to, I don't know what that point would be, but I feel like there's a closer to adulthood sort of point, and I never want the world to parent my kids. And so I started just writing lessons. So I have lessons for Lily and answers for Andrew. And I just start writing in them when I come up with some. I would love for those eventually to be something anybody could use. But right now, honestly, they're just love letters to my kids and lessons for my kids. That's all that is to it. I need to tell you guys one thing real fast. I didn't talk about it earlier because I didn't ran out of time. When you think about how much time you have for your kids, we all think, oh, my kid's 8, I have 10 years. You need to reframe that. You need to start stealing that. That's fine. You need to start thinking about it differently. So when you think about the time frame with your kids, think about it in seasons. For example, if you're a Christmas family, my son is 11. He turns 12 this year. It means I have 6 more Christmases. I'm not going to have 6 more years till he's 18. Do I actually? Yes. But I also only have 6 Christmases. I'm going to have 6 more summers until he gets to decide, do I want to hang out with dad or not? Right now, he just goes with me because I want him to. 6 summers. That's it. My daughter's 8, she'll be 9. It means I got 9 more seasons with her. My son plays lacrosse and I love to coach him. And the reality is I get 2 more years to coach him, and then he's in high school and I don't get to do it anymore. I'm not going to be a high school coach. 2. People are like, hey, in the spring, if you weren't coaching your kids, your business would probably grow your business even faster. Yeah, but I only get 2. That's it. So think of your life in seasons. Behind me is beads. See the blue and pink beads? Each one of these represents a Saturday I have left with my children until they're 18. And Lily has 1.5, a little under 1.5. Andrew has a half. They're only 3 years apart. Every Saturday, I take one out and I think to myself, did I make the most of this week? And I drop it in a little container I have down there. And it's a constant reminder to just constantly give my children the best, not to go to work and come home and give them the leftovers. So keep it in perspective how much time you actually have. And the last thing I'll give you is this thing right here. I was going to do this with the VIP because that would be a smaller group, but this is my dad talk calendar. It's open. It has way more times available than I should ever let it have because it's just like my whole day, basically. If anybody, basically that gives you 30 minutes for a game plan. If you're like, hey, I need to level up as dad. Now, if you have other man stuff, whatever, talk to Elise and her other panels, go for it. But if you need a game plan on how to level up as dad, there it is. You can click on it, sign into it, whatever you want to do. I'm not there to sell you into anything. I'll just give you 30 minutes of my time and we'll talk about where you are as dad. And I'll give you some free tools. I can put you in my free group, whatever I have, and I'll give it to you. So I do that, but with my chemotherapy sessions. I don't understand. I hope you're healthy, Carlos. But anyways, so there it is. You take it for what it is.
awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, John, for being so generous with your time and with your offerings. You have really greatly benefited so many dads in this chat today, and everyone who's here. I hope you take these lessons and I hope you really value your time. I love that your bead method. That is so valuable. So we will have this recording available for 24 hours for non-VIP. If you want access to the recordings all throughout the week, all forever, make sure you sign up for VIP, and VIPs, you'll get the email of this in your back end when they're all uploaded after the week is done. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, John. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night with Kevin, where we're talking about breath work and ice baths. So see you guys next time. Bye-bye.